like to welcome all of you today to this first ever Webmasters event in Google India. I'm from the search quality team in Hyderabad, and on behalf of Google India and my co-host Alok Goyal, where is Alok? All right, he's around. So on behalf of Alok, raise your hand please. So on behalf of Alok, who's the product manager for India Search, I'd like to welcome you today on this Saturday. Thank you very much for coming down. We know a lot of people have come from a lot of different places, pretty far away, had to wake up very early to catch their flights. We are expecting a very varied crowd today. We have SEOs, webmasters, we have bloggers, we will have a lot of folks from the press, as well as some representatives from Government of India, the people who maintain the nic.insights. In the next 20 minutes or so, I'll go over some of the reasons why we are hosting a conference, some of the analysis we did on popular websites in India, talk about some of the initiatives which Google India has taken specific to the Indian market, before I go over the agenda for the day. Concerns, and what we are looking at is building very strong relationships with the market community in India. The decision to host the conference was taken after careful consideration of a number of factors. We did a lot of analysis about the market, we spoke to a lot of people, and that's where we decided that a conference would be a great way to start to take our relationships with the webmaster community to the next level. The agenda for today has been tailored for our market. Somewhere in late 2007 and early 2008 was when we started attending events related to webmasters in India. And those were our initial interaction days. But one thing which we realized there was a lot to learn from the community, and we needed to increase the level of our interaction with people. We took a closer look at the Indian market, what the users were searching for, what was the kind of experience they were getting in terms of the types of websites they were visiting, how were these websites created, and so on. And the final result of a whole lot of these factors is the conference today. Before I go into some of our analysis and some of our findings, I'll just like to remind us of some of the data regarding India. We have a billion-plus population. A very large percentage of that is very young. It depends on who you speak to. The percentage of, you see figures between, let's say, 7 and 9% for English speakers. The number of internet subscribers is 11.7 million. This is data from middle of 2008. But the number of broadband subscribers is pretty low. But if you look at the mobile data, it's close to 290 million. With mobile internet phones being around 75 million. The number of subscribers grew by about 25 million in Q2 of 2008. So there is a huge opportunity, and mobile seems to be the place where a lot is happening. Once we had analyzed what the users were looking for, we took a closer look at the sites they were visiting. We primarily looked at websites which had Indian content and not ones which were aimed at an international audience. We looked at them for their selling point, their construction, and how complex they were. What was the kind of expertise which had gone into making these websites? And our findings were pretty interesting. The two big sectors were entertainment and education. That is, people were going and looking for movies, they were going and looking for songs, MP3s, The next big were the ones which were catering to job, especially freshers. If you look at the rest of the sites which make up the next 50%, they were mainly news, banking and finance related, as well as news related websites. Taking a closer look at the data for our site, the way the sites were constructed, we realized that about half the sites did not have a robot.txt file. A robot.txt file is a file which basically tells search engines which directories they can crawl and which they cannot crawl. Now, while not having a site is not a problem, the search engines will still crawl you. But in case you have directories which you don't want search engines to crawl, it's a good practice to have this site on. In its simplest form, and we found that about 50% or thereabouts didn't have those. XML sitemap is basically a list of URLs for a site. It basically gives allows the webmaster to give the search engines more information as to when it was last updated, what kind of hierarchy it has within websites, within the website, and it helps the search engines scroll the website a lot more intelligently. And we found about most of them websites, and we're talking about the big websites in India, didn't really have XML files. We were much better with HTML sitemaps, which basically lists all the sections on a page, where it was close to even between haves and have-nots. But with meta tags, which allow search engines and other users to quickly understand the website, most websites had the meta tags. So India is very important to us. We put a lot of effort in understanding this market, as well as coming up with specific initiatives aimed at this market. I'll just take you through some of them. In 2008, Q4, we launched a community on Orkut, which is aimed at people who are interested in being a webmaster or all things related to webmaster. The idea was that we know that in India, Orkut is a very popular product. We have a lot of people on. We are very heavy users of Orkut, so it made sense for us to go where the people were. In Q4, again, we had two Googlers from Hyderabad, from the search quality team in Hyderabad, start becoming guides on the Webmaster Help Forum. The reason behind that was that we wanted to be able to react to questions as fast as possible. And that's why we started it from Hyderabad. We started blogging on Webmaster related issues on our Google India corporate blog. We released an on-screen keyboard. This is an iGoogle gadget, which allows you to search in any language you wish to, any Indic language you wish to. There were a number of launches with regards to the phone. We allowed for voice search on phone, SMS search, because we knew the users were using mobiles. They didn't necessarily have access to a mobile or a computer with an internet connection. Transliteration is a process wherein you phonetically convert something typed in one language into another language. And we launched a transliteration API for India for Indian languages. Basically, the reason being that you start typing we don't need a vernacular keyboard. You start typing English, and it converts it automatically into the language of your choice, and you can do your search that way. For increasing the awareness around internet, we launched a project called the Google Bus. This has been launched in Tamil Nadu as of now. The idea is, what we are doing with it is we have a bus which is internet capable. We're going to the smaller towns around Tamil Nadu and making people more aware of the internet. What are the possibilities, what are the advantages, and what all can be accomplished with it. And this is just to increase the size of the internet user space in India. And lastly, you're all here. This is this for the Search Masters, and this is something which we are doing specifically for India. We have a pretty varied agenda today, which will start with a talk by Adam Lasnik, who will speak about Google's Webmaster tools and best practices. Adam is has been with Google for about 3 years. He works very closely with a number of search quality related teams in Mountain View. Our next speaker is going to be Koti from the search quality team in Hyderabad. He's one of our 2 guides on the Webmaster Forum, and he will speak on the subject. Our third speaker will speak around Google custom search, and Dr. Rajat Mukherjee is here from Mountain View. In fact, we're very fortunate to have him here today. He'll be leaving us early because he has a flight to go back today itself. Having spoken about mobiles earlier, we will have one speaker, Ankit Gupta from the Bangalore office itself, speak about building mobile-friendly websites. We know, well, we are seeing that the trend is more towards devices which are smaller and lighter, and this is a very forward-looking talk which we will have. Our last speaker is Deepak Kumar from our Hyderabad office. The original talk was supposed to be delivered by Deepak and Dinesh Jain, but Dinesh couldn't make it today, so Deepak will be delivering the whole talk for us today.